Hello, viewers. Welcome to From Seed to Harvest 2025. Today, I shall be teaching you a topic: how to prepare your farmland before planting. Well, farm preparation is very, very essential. There is a slogan that says, "How you prepare your bed, so you lie on it." This is also reflecting in farming. So the way you prepare your farmland, that is what determines the quality of the crops that you get from it, or the quality of the quality of your crops that comes out of that land. So farming preparation is very, very essential. So farmland preparation plays a very, very vital role in determining the degree of how your crops production becomes. So for everyone who intend to go into farming this year 2025, farmland preparation is 100% essential, because there are some vital key in farming that when you miss a particular area of what you were supposed to do before you commence your farming, you are going to run at loss. So in order for you to avoid running at loss in your farming for this year 2025, there are major things you have to bring into consideration, and one of the most is farmland preparation. Please, as you go on with this teaching, be very, very focused, because I am going to give you the rudiments of farming that will help you to achieve success in your farming for this year 2025. So stay focused. Land preparation differs for different crops production. For those that is going to vegetable farming, is different from those that is going to annual crops farming. Like cassava is annual crops, your plantain is annual crops, then your cucumber, your watermelon, your maize, your okra, and your vegetable leaves, these are 3 months crops. So the way you prepare your farming for 3 months crops is different from how you do the one of annual crop farming. So like I said land preparation differs for different crops. Now, benefits of land preparation. Number one, compacted soil are losing during land preparation. Two, pests in your farmland area, you are able to control them when you engage on land preparation, because all these things are what will eventually make you run at loss if you don't stay focused to tackle them before you engage on farming. Number three, obstacles that slows down your work are removed or burned out. Sometimes, burning of your grasses after you have finished clearing your grasses, as you commence burning will help you to remove some sticks on the floor of your farm, and it will help you to eradicate some pests, that's some eating pests. Not just eating pests alone, it will drive out some pests that would come to consume your produce, and we eradicate some eating pests like earthworm, like ants, like termites, and there are some dangerous eating pests that bush burning will help you to eradicate. Now, bush burning is part of your land preparation. When you engage on it, it will help you to burn out some, in some farm, there are some trees and there are some wood that you have to slash or cut when you are clearing to finish your farm preparation. There are some sticks you have to cut off. Those sticks, they will fall on the ground. When they fall on the ground, during harvest, those sticks are going to backfire on you. Not only that, those sticks, if you don't remove them, in some farm, most especially large farm, you use wheelbarrow or you use a mobile machines to navigate from place to place. As you burn those things out, your land will be free to move about. Now, those sticks, let me tell you one of the disadvantages of those small, small sticks that you slash or you cut and leave them on the ground. Termites will come back even if you do bush burning after about 3 months or 2 months. When grass have started springing, termites will find their way into your farm, and one of those things that attracts them are those small small sticks that you leave on the ground. They will start feeding on them. There are other ants that also feed on those small sticks that you leave on the floor. So when they are feeding on them, they will also be feeding on your crops and giving your crops infesting your crops, meaning your crops will be affected by infections. And there are different infections that runs within the farm that those pests carries along. When they eat your crops, your live crops that is growing, they transfer infections and it affects your crops, the productivity of your crops. It cannot yield well the way it's supposed to yield. Number 4, sunlight the plants require for growth enhancements or to process food for plants is controlled to have access to the soil. When during a land preparation, you clear your bush and you cut down some of the trees that are not too big, you bring them down. This will enable your sun radiation or your sunlight to get to the floor, because this sunlight is what your plants requires to perform very well. If you have ever planted under trees, you realize that the crop that you plant outside directly to the sunlight grows faster and produce faster than the crops that is having shadow on them. Most especially those who are going into cassava cultivation and plantain cultivation. If your plantain is shaded by higher trees, or there's a shadow of other plants that is overshadowing your trees, it will make your plants to grow very very slowly. Where you are supposed to harvest your crop for 12 months or for 9 months, because there are some plantain that you harvest within 9 months, you have already harvested them. Not all plantain that gets to 1 year. The reasons are because of the nutrients in your soil. I'm going to treat that one too in my later discussion. Now, this crop that is exposed directly to sunlight produce faster than the crops that is below, that is having a obstacle of shadow on them. So number 5, it helps crops spacing to be more accurate. When you engage on farmland preparation, you are able to plan for the spacing of your crops accurately, because at this time there is open farmland. Your farm is already open. You can see from the beginning of your farm to the ending of your farm. So when you are doing your measurements, you can easily tell when your farm, you are taking a straight line, because there are some straight line that you go, it will not help you to get the amount of crops that you need to plant in that farm. You need to redirect your line to give you a better spacing that will make the amount or the quantity of the crops that you are going to plant complete. So number 6, it gives you access road or pathway for vehicle and mobility to navigate various places in that farmland. During farm preparation, access road or pathway are being cut out. most especially those who are going into large farming. Example, you are going into 1,000 hectares of farming. You must need road, and you are going to dissect your land into different portions, segments, segment A, segment B, segment C, segment D, and various segments that will enable you to now share your planting different crops into different segments. And each of these segments need access road to those places where you planted your crop. Even if it's going to be one crop you are going to plant in all your shops. I said all your shops, sorry, in your different farms. In your that same farm, you need access road in your farm. So engaging on land or taking the consciousness of land preparation into play, you are able to plan your do your road plan in your farm perfectly, because you are taking land preparation into consideration. So farmland preparation in wet and dry season, the way you prepare your farm in wet season or in summer, in a winter, is different from the way you prepare your farmland in the dry season or in the summer. They are both different. If you don't apply the right approach, you will run at loss. That is the reason why I said in my first video that if for some persons that will be given 1 million to run a certain farm, if you give me the same if you gave me the same farmland, I will be able to use 200,000 to run that farm. You know why I said it? Because I know the techniques, what you are to, the do's and don'ts, what you are supposed to guide against, what you are supposed to run at that particular time, what you are supposed to take notes so that you achieve them with a lower amount of expenses. These are some of the things that you are supposed to take notes, so that as you engage in your farming, you will be able to do less expenses and achieve more. Now, dry season farming preparation. Now listen, in dry season or in summer, farmland preparation is cheaper to achieve than in wet or winter season, because the use of fire plays a vital role, which helps to burn out most obstacles like sticks, clearing of your bush, and cut down trees. Also reduce soil pests, which affects your crops to a large extent. In the dry season, it is cheaper to practice your farm preparation. It is cheaper to achieve success, or you spend less. You spend very much less in summer. That is in dry season. You spend less. So let me explain how you spend less, because these are the things I did not know when I was going into farming. Now, this period, we are in January now, right? Yeah, I'm talking about Nigeria, Africa, and every part of the world. We are in dry season in Africa. Now, in this dry season, you are supposed to start weeding or start clearing the bush you are proposing to use for your farm for the year 2025. You are supposed to commence clearing of that bush. So, after clearing, what do you have to do? You wait for about 2 weeks. If you have trees that you fell during the clearing, you wait for about 3 weeks. So this will enable everything to be fully dried. Please take note that as you cut down your trees, try to trim the branches of your trees for it to get dried on time. Then once you set fire, it's going to burn out those log of wood and burn out the leaves. Bush burning, it is practiced here in Nigeria. So it will burn down all those things and leave the land open for your farming. You see, If you were to do that in rainy season, after clearing your bush, your grass will start springing up almost immediately. So clearing your bush and you want to wait for 1 week for it to dry. By the time you get back to your farm, everywhere will be green again. So you have come back to stage one. And because the rain is falling, so your grasses easily spring up. So you not have a clear, open land to commence your planting. So by the time that happens, you are going to spend much money to start planting all over, to start clearing all over. And this time you are going to clear to the earth. By the time you clear to the earth, that's going to be it's going to take a lot of okay, let's assume you are going to clear maybe 100 hectares to the earth with manual clearing. Before you clear to the middle of that farm, you look to the back. If no matter the amount of people you pack to your farm, the grass is going to start springing all over. So, but if it were dry season, as you are clearing, grass is hardly grows because there's no water on the floor. The one that managed to spring up, it doesn't grow fast. What will normally take just 1 month to grow, in dry season it will take 5 months to grow to that height. It's even more than 5 months. It will take about 7 months to grow to that height. So grasses hardly grow, or plants hardly grows in dry season because there's no water to boost the growth. So you can clear your 100 hectares and spark your fire on it. Everything will just burn down, and you have your free land to commence your planting for the season. So that's why it is cheaper. And number two, the rate at which grass spring up in dry season is at a very low pace or no growth at all. That's why it is cheaper. You see, if it were dry season, what you take, maybe you want to budget 2 million to clear and start commence your planting. If you were to do that same project in rainy season, you're going to be spending over 4 million or over 5 million. The amount you achieve, the amount you spend in dry season, that 2 million, you won't even still achieve the degree of your work. You won't achieve it in wet season. Even if you spend times 2 and even more in wet season, you won't achieve what you are able to do in dry season. I am talking about land preparation. So it is better to commence dry season land preparation than for you to wait for rainy season. That's why everyone who desires to run their farming for this year 2025 must start searching for land and working on preparing the land for planting. So soil heap starts after, please note, soil heap starts after removal of farmland obstacles from the floor on the farm. You can use a manual approach or a mechanized method. I'm talking about heaping of soil for those who intend to plant yam, cassava, and every other tuber crops. Not only tuber, or even some seedlings. You need to decompact your soil, heap it so that your roots can easily penetrate the soil. So these are all land preparation. You must use mechanized method to soften your soil so that your crop can easily grow fast. So now note, during this suckers and stem farming, should ensure that they start searching for suckers and stem during farmland preparation. Now let me explain this. After or during your farmland preparation, I mean when you are doing your clearing, you are doing your bush burning, you are picking of sticks in the bush that you couldn't finish, that didn't burn out to completely, you are picking them. During this time of your land preparation, what you as a farm owner are supposed to be doing is to start searching for those that is going into tuber farming, like cassava, yam, and other tuber farming. Not only that, stick farming or sucker farming. Sucker farming like plantain, pineapple, and so on. Or stick farming like cassava or sugarcane. During your land preparation, you are supposed to be looking for where to get suckers to buy, where to get your stems to buy, or where to get your seedlings. You must have it readily available before you complete your land preparation. Because in the last thing you do after land preparation, let me tell you the two things you do after land preparation. Number one is burning of your bush. You strike your fire for it to start burning. And number two, the one that did not finish burning, maybe it's some stick that is still remaining that did not finish burning, you must pick them. You must pick them and gather them. You know why? So that termites will not locate them and start feeding on them. Because once termites gather on your small sticks on the ground, they will feed on them and they will start feeding on your crop. So you must pick them away from your farm. These are what you do during this land preparation. Now, once you are done with that same day, assuming you start your bush burning around 10 a.m. in the morning, before 2, your bush is already completely burnt. And once you finish burning your bush, you are supposed to start planting immediately, same day or the next day, in the morning of the next day. You don't waste time, most especially when rain has commenced, because you can't plant when rain has not commenced. You see, you do your land preparation to the day rain will start falling. If you have finished picking the sticks after burning, you hold on. Because if you start doing your clearing it all depends on the size of farm you want to engage on. If the size of farm is big and you want to use manual approach, now you start clearing some will start from February, some will start doing their clearing from middle of January, while some will start last week of January. So, but some used to start first week of February or last week of February. Some will start first week of March. You know what they are targeting? They are targeting rain. So it all depends on the size of farmland you want to cultivate. So that will make you determine when exactly to start doing your clearing. Now, if you start when you are done with clearing your farm and rain has not come, you have to wait for rain to start. So if maybe after a week rain now starts falling, you are going to start planting the next day or that same day that rain fell. No matter what engages you in your personal activities, you must disengage with them and commence your planting that same day that first rain fall. Or not just first rain, it all depends on the club. You can wait for rain to fall 3 times before you commence planting. Yes, if rain fall maybe on Monday, you hold on, rain will fall on Thursday, and when another rain fall the next Monday, go and start planting. Some will plant after the second rain. The reason why you should not plant after the first rain, sometimes the first rain can confuse you, because first rain can fall. After that first rain, the next 2 weeks there will be no rain. So if you introduce your crops or your tubers or your suckers to the soil, that first rain will not be enough to sustain your seedlings or your stems or your suckers before the second rain will come down. So most farmers will wait for the second rain to come down first, or for the third rain to come down before they start planting. Now, for those that is going into cassava planting, after first rain, you can introduce your cassava stem. Even if after 2 weeks rain did not fall, it doesn't affect your cassava. Ensure your cassava stem is freshly cut. Cassava you cut today or yesterday is what you plant, not the one you cut last week or last 2 weeks. lot of them will not grow because sun has already hit it. So the one you cut fresh, after first rain, start planting them. I will teach you how to plant cassava in our other topic. Now, this is what you do. And then in wet season, now listen to this one. Wet season farmland preparation. I told you that it is different from dry season farmland preparation. Now, in wet season farmland preparation, you are not expected to clear and wait for it to dry because it's already raining. Rain can fall today, and after 3 days, another rain is falling, or after 4 days, another rain is falling. After 5 days, another rain is falling. This will always spring up grass after you finish clearing because the bush you are clearing there, the grasses, all of them has matured seedlings. As you are clearing them, they are dispersing of seed everywhere. So by the time you finish clearing, rain fall on it. The next 3 days, the next 3 days or the next 4 days, you will see grass seedling already springing up. So you can't even see any sunlight to dry up your grass for you to spark up your fire. Now, wet season farm preparation. What you do after clearing your crops, your grasses. After clearing it, you must wait for at least 2 to 3 weeks. I said you must wait for at least 2 to 3 weeks. Now, what this will do to your crops is that 2 weeks you are using to wait, it will make the grass seedlings that fell on the ground while you were clearing to spring up grasses. They will spring up. You are giving 2 weeks so that it will have enough time for those grasses to spring up. Not only grass that will spring up, some of the grass you cut, you slash them, right? You slash them. Now, within this time period of 2 to 3 weeks, those grasses that they slashed will now sprout. They will sprout and start growing. It needs to sprout well. It needs to grow to, this sprouting needs to grow to at least 6 inches. 6 inches. It shouldn't be very small. Minimum 6 inches. And within 3 weeks or 2 weeks, it all depends on the kind of grass. If it is awolowo, if you know what is called awolowo in English, put it on the comment section. Now, those awolowo is very fast. Within 2 weeks, they have grown to 6 inches. Or highest 3 weeks, they have even grew up to 1 foot. That is very good in your farming. Then that 2 to 3 weeks will give time to seedlings that fell on the ground. I mean, grass seeds that fell on the ground to sprout. And there are some seeds that have been on the ground. Some seed can stay on the ground for over 1 year. They will not sprout because they don't have access to sunlight. By the time you clear your grass, they will not have access to sunlight. They will all sprout at the same time. Now, what you do after 2 to 3 weeks, there is a herbicide that you use to spray on them. You spray, these are farm secrets that you spend because you didn't know them. You spend a lot. There are lots of farm secrets. That's why you have to follow my page at Ambitious 5-star on my YouTube. I'm going to release every forms of secrets that is associated in farming that most farmers used to keep in secret. I'm going to bust them out so that you can now start taking advantage and making your farm a success, because it is the secret you know that will help you to make more profits in your farming, that will help you to succeed in your farming. The secret that you know. So if you don't know all these secrets, how would you succeed in your farming? Now, after 2 weeks or after 3 weeks, you are going to engage your farm with slow-killing chemicals. There are many slow-killing chemicals. So I'm going to introduce you to them, the advantage and disadvantage of using various chemicals. I have over 1,000 lessons that you are going to learn in these farming secrets. Now, you introduce your chemical at once. As you introduce your chemical, now listen. Before you go to that farm land to introduce your chemical, you must have your suckers on ground, that same site. You must have your seedlings on ground, but not just normal seed though, because the grasses is not all things that you are going to plant you will start introduce that same day. But for cassava, sugarcane, plantain, banana, your tubers, your yams, your lots of uh, farm produce, you must get them available that same day. Then commence your spraying. As you commence your spraying, wait for the liquid that's you sprinkle on your the leaves of your grass. Wait for it to dry. Maybe after spraying, just wait for 2 hours or 1 hour. Start planting. These are farm secrets. Don't wait for the next day. You can wait for the next day, there's no problem. But that same day, start planting. I will show you one of my farm that I started planting that same day. I mean, maize. I started introducing maize that same day, but there are ways. If you want to plant your seedlings on where you already have low grasses, maybe grasses is up to 6 inches or 1 foot, you want to plant seedlings. There are ways to do it. I know the way, that's why I succeeded in my own. I don't wait for 3 days before I start planting. I don't wait for those grasses to die. You know why? By the time you plant that same moment, those grasses will grow up before any other seed that is still left. You know, you have millions of grass seeds on the ground. It is not all that will grow at once. No, some will grow before some. Now, by the time you plant, by the time the one that's already grown dies off, the one that couldn't succeed in growing will sprout again. So, but by the time you introduce your seedlings is now going to pick up first, because immediately your seed have access to water, it boosts it for it to start sprouting. That is a germination method of germination. How your seed germinates. Once it receives water or moisture, it starts triggering it to what? To sprout. So by the time it sprouts, the seedling that couldn't survive or succeed in the first challenge. Now, I hope you understand what I'm teaching. The seedling that couldn't succeed in the first seed challenge will still be finding it difficult to sprout immediately. But your seed that you just introduce to the ground will start sprouting. If it is maize, 3 days, your maize is already coming out from the ground. Highest 4 days. For those using agric, not the local seedlings, 4 days, 3 days, they have all sprouts from the ground. And the next 4-5 days, you are already seeing them growing already. Now, those your seed that are delayed in the first challenge with other seed that couldn't succeed surviving, they will still be slow. Some of them, it will take 2 weeks to pick. You know why they were slow? Because they were obstacles that delayed them. Maybe they were a little shade of grass around them, they couldn't sprout. So they will delay. And majority of the seed that should have rushed to sprout alongside with that of maize or with the seed you introduce, they have all grew up. So that spraying that you spray is going to eliminate all of them. But you know why you just slow it will take time. So if sometimes it takes 2 weeks for them to die, there are some chemical herbicide that you use that makes the plants, the grass, to take about 3 weeks before it dies. Within that 3 weeks, your maize that you planted have grown to 5 inches. Did I say 5 inches? Almost 1 foot. Almost 1 foot. The maize that you planted have grown to about 12 inches. That same period. That's why you use slow killer, because until the grass that sprouted fully dies, it will keep shading the farmland. And when there is shade or shadow on your land, no seed can sprout. No seed can sprout. No seed. So it will hinder the seed, the grass seed that has not sprouted on the ground. It will hinder them from sprouting. So some of the seed will start sprouting after 1 month. That's when your crops would have grown to about 2 feet on the ground. 2 feet. See the side of 2 feet. Okay, maybe you won't be able to measure it. 2 feet. This is the side of 2 feet. Maybe your crop would have succeeded in growing to that height before the seed that couldn't meet up in the first challenge, before they will start seeing the sunlight, because sometimes it takes 1 full month for the grass that you spray with this herbicide to completely collapse. And once it collapses, your soil will now be exposed directly to sunlight. So it is sunlight that makes most of those seeds to sprout. Sunlight. Once sunlight hits the floor and they have access, not heat, no, direct sunlight, because it helps them to manufacture their food through the helps of seed synthesis. I'm not talking about photosynthesis, because photosynthesis is for your leaf, but seed synthesis is for your seed to start sprouting. So once your seeds start noticing or sensing the presence of sunlight hitting on them, they will now start sprouting. And at this time, your maize have grown to 6 feet. Sorry, 3 feet. Some of them have grown to 3 feet. Some has grown to 4 feet. Some has grown to 2 feet. Depends on the nutrients of your farm soil that determines the degree of your growth, or the rate at which they grow from the soil. I have a lot of things to pass across to everyone who wants to go into farming. Just subscribe to my YouTube, and the page that you are listening to these farm lessons or topics, or you are engaging with, also subscribe. Any page you hear, any social media platform you hear this topic, subscribe to that social media platform, but you must go to my YouTube page and subscribe there. MD Shots 5 Star is my YouTube page name. So go ahead and subscribe, so that the value you are supposed to obtain in this your 2025 farming, you will not mix it. Remember, we are talking about wet season farm preparation. It's very, very interesting. So for myself, I farm in wet season. I also farm in dry season. There are some plants you can plant even when there's no water on the ground. There are some plants you can introduce to your soil even when the soil is completely dried. That's dry season planting. Then other dry season planting is your irrigation. I do all these things. I have irrigated tomatoes. I have irrigated pepper. I have irrigated garden egg. I have irrigated vegetables, seedlings. I have irrigated plantain. So a lot of things. I have a lot of things to pass across to everyone who intends to go into farming. And secret is the reason why most farmers are not progressing. Secrets, they don't know this. They don't know the how. So if you have coach that you will need to call for every challenge that you face in farming, your coach has overcome those challenges. Sometimes 5 years ago, sometimes 2 years ago, sometimes 10 years ago, is now exposed to new challenge and is overcoming them. So you that is just starting, those challenges you think that they are very difficult, community crisis challenge, there are lots of challenge in farming. You should be connecting to a coach to assist you in overcoming those challenges. Whether you are in animal farming, fish farming, goat farming, because I have done some of them, and I know people who are into them. So it is better you get connected to a coach. What you are supposed to be spending 500,000 to run, you can spend just 100,000 to do the same thing when you are well connected to someone who will guide you into the how to achieve success in that your farming. Now remember, we are talking about farm preparation. Farm preparation is very, very vital, because there are certain things that you must put into consideration that if you don't put them into consideration, by the time you miss out major secrets in farm preparation, my brother, you are sitting on a long tail. So you must get these techniques of preparing your land. Now, mechanizing of farm is another farm preparation which everyone who is having access to finance must start looking to go into mechanizing of farm. It helps to reduce costs by 30% or 40% compared to manual. That's another secret. Wow, how do you think, how possible? Yeah, the secret is with me. I am going to release every secret. Like I've told you, all you just have to do, get connected. So one of the how you need to get connected to me, because I have told you um, in my other teaching that I am ready to be your coach. Just get connected, because I'm going we are on from seed to harvest mentorship training 2025. It's all about farm secrets exposed, farm secrets exposed, farm secrets exposed. Now, land preparation, you must take it very, very serious. You know, there are time for various crops in case you want to run your farm just once in a year. But for me, I harvest from January to December. Harvest in my farm happens from January to December. So harvest happen most almost every week on my farm. So it's because I have planned my farm to yield from January to December. So if you know the wet and dry season techniques of farming for your different crops, you'll be able to sustain your inflow from weeks to weeks, from month to month without stopping. So if assuming you are exposed to a certain amount in January, that same amount will either go high or drop a little in February, in March, in April till December. So if you understand the techniques of wet season farming and dry season farming, most especially this farmland preparation, it's what you must take into consideration, because you see the foundation of whatever you are going into. Let's assume you are going to erect a house. The kind of house you want to build is dependent on, or the foundation you plan for the building is depending on the nature of the building you want to go into. So the depth of your foundation differs with the height of your building. So is farming. If you must plan to harvest from January to December, because there are various crops. There are even crops that you intercrops while farming, whatever you want to farm. There are advantage and disadvantage of intercropping. But there are some that have more advantage. And the one that has more advantage, that is the one you take very seriously. That is the one you take into consideration to miscrop. Yeah, because we looked into several um, reasons that um, brings advantage and that brings disadvantage. So before we decide on which to stick to and which not to go into. So thank you very much for watching this from seed to harvest, mentorship program 2025. To round it up, be sure you are ready to commence seed suckers and stem planting the same day of your heap making. I have already explained this in this video. Get your suckers available, get your stems available, or get your seedlings available. Not before farm preparation, not before. It is during. If your farm is going to take about 3 weeks to run your farm preparation, go and start up your farm preparation. Then the same time, start looking for where to get your suckers to buy. If your farm is up to 100 hectares, you should know that you must get nothing less than 50,000 suckers. nothing less than 50,000 or between 30,000 to 50,000. I will do my calculation. Depends on the amount of hectares you want to go into. So the amount of the hectares will determines the the number of suckers you will use, consider the spacing. So in my next teaching, I think I'm going to going to teach you on spacing, because lots of my followers are asking questions about spacings. Some of them call me, some of them send me messages, and they are asking me how to space. Just keep in touch. Ensure you are subscribing to my YouTube channel, Ambitious 5-star, because I'm going to teach on spacing. There are advantage and disadvantage. What you think you know, by the time you listen to my teachings, you will discover you don't know them. You didn't know them. If you had known them, you would have done well. Because spacing, it is even more it is better to listen to my topic on spacing than even this one you are listening to, because spacing has a lot of, in fact, the percentage advantage that spacing add to your profits is too high, is just too high. For those who missed out spacing plan, my brother, you are sitting on a long tail where you were supposed to be making, for example, 10 million. You will just be making 3 million, 2.5 million. Yes, because your spacing was messed up. So that's why you must give attention to my teaching. I have over 1,000 topics to teach to guide you as you take your farm investments so serious, so that this 2025 is going to be a goal achievement, so that by December and January we all will sit together, rejoice together. We can even host a party together where we all will rejoice at our various success in our farming for this year. So see you rejoicing at the end of this year together with me, your farm coach, Omoriyi Ephraim Omorodion. Please, before I hang up on this segment, subscribe to my YouTube channel at Ambitious 5-star. Also subscribe to this very page you are watching this video. Any of the social media you come in contact with my video, please subscribe to my name. I'm on social media with just 2 names. Now listen to the names. Number 1, Ambitious 5-star. It's spelled MDCIOUS space 5 STARS stars. And number 2 names that I am using to run social media is my personal name, Omoriyi Ephraim Omorodion. So any of these 2, subscribe to them in any of the social media you find me. You find me on YouTube channel, you find me on Instagram, you find me on Facebook, you find me on TikTok. Thank you very much for listening. Please ensure you subscribe after watching this video, so that you can continue on this From Seed to Harvest Mentorship program 2025. Like I said, that this mentorship program is going to run from January to December, because there are a lot. Imagine when someone have over 1,000 topics to teach. He can't run them within 1 month, because there are some things that you cannot just teach within 5 minutes and hang up. You must be ready to listen, because farm secrets, it takes time for you to know them, and when you know them, you are going to blow in your farm investment. Thank you very much for being a participant on this topic, for listening to this topic. Goodbye, and see you on my next topic. Thank you.